In this video, I will go through the basics of how to create a cut-only book with a pattern extruded from the book. I usually refer to it as method 3 or positive cut-only book. The positive in the name comes from the fact that the subject of the pattern is above or in front of the background. The background is cut deeper into the book than the subject. In part 4 of the video series, I will teach you another way of creating a cut-only book by placing the subject of the pattern behind the background. The subject is deeper in the book than the background, and therefore that method will be called negative cut-only book, or simply method 4. To learn about the fourth method, find the link in the description below or click on the link in the top right corner. To create any of these cut-only books, you will need: first, the mark, cut and fold pattern table or bend template. In the description of this video, you can find a link to my website where you can find a vast set of patterns. Some of them are even for free. The digital files include the tables and bend templates together with illustrated instructions. Second, a book of the appropriate dimensions. The patterns are designed for books of a specific height and number of pages. You can watch part 7 of this tutorial series to learn how to choose the right book for your project. For method 3 and 4, that is cut-only methods, you should use very thick books. You will also need a pencil to mark the places for cuts, a pair of scissors for making cuts in the book, and a ruler to measure the depth of a cut. For cut-only books, you can also use a sharp knife and a board. It might be more comfortable for you to cut out tabs from the sheets. In order to speed up your project, you can use other tools. You can find out how to speed up the process of creating your book in part 9 of this tutorial series. Please find the link in the description below, or click on the link in the top right corner. First, decide how deep you want your background to be. In methods for cut-only books, that is method 3 and 4, there is no actual limitation to how deep the line should be. Nevertheless, it is still better to not place it too deep. Especially for patterns with small details, it is better to not cut too deep to keep the sheet stable. Also, it is easier and faster to cut short distances, and it is easier to ensure that the cuts are straight. Here, the first line is drawn at a distance of 1.5 cm or 0.6 inch from the foredge. The next step is to mark where each part of the subject of the pattern begins and ends on the sheet. For this, you may use either the mark, cut and fold table or the bend template. Using the bend template is usually more convenient than using the pattern table, and it allows you to complete marking much faster than the table. The only disadvantage of the bend template over the measurement table is that it has to be printed out, whereas you can still use the table in electronic form. For each mark separating subject and background, you need to make a cut inside the book. In order to ensure that the cuts are straight, draw perpendicular lines between the first line and the foredge, and then cut along these lines. Drawing the perpendicular lines significantly increases the time you spend on the project, so once you gain practice in cutting straight lines, you can skip this point. In many cases, the text in the book may serve you as help to ensure that the lines are straight. After we cut the whole sheet, we obtain pattern parts and background parts. Which of the pattern and background parts we leave and which we cut out depends on the method. Here, we use method 3, we create a positive cut-only book. Therefore, we leave the pattern parts and cut out the background parts. The background parts are cut out by cutting along a line parallel to the foredge and perpendicular to the cuts in the previous step. Repeat these steps for every sheet in the book to get the final result. If you decide to use the table, for some patterns you can find the word background in the whole row. It means that the entire page makes up the background and you treat it the same way as you would treat a background part. In this method, the whole piece is cut out. We cut from the bottom to the top of the book, or top to bottom if you prefer, along the line. NailYt book folding instructions contain a texture which can be used for cut and fold books to decorate the inside parts of the covers which become visible. In cut-only books, the inside cover is either not visible at all or hardly visible. Therefore, there is no reason to use it for this method. Here we covered the basics of method 3, the positive cut-only book. If it is too overwhelming for you at the beginning, do not worry, you learned a lot of new terms. Just watch the video again or read the instructions carefully. It is normal to read or watch tutorials more than once to understand them, so do not get discouraged. Mark, cut, fold and enjoy your book with NailYt.